Hey, I'm back. Went away for a little while, and I know you're probably pissed off. You're like, you're just gonna leave? After I introduce you to my children? And my dog? Okay, so here we go. Let's just jump right into this. Where have I been? I have been going through some serious life changes, creating a much larger container for myself to operate from. I was a little bit behind on my rent because I rented this giant art gallery and I turned it into this portal. But when I rented it, I didn't have any money to rent it. My landlord, he's just like a really great guy, and he let me have the space, and I was starting to slack by not catching up, and I thought, you know what? I'm compromising the integrity of my relationship with someone who means a lot to me, and that was starting to get with me. So I went to this really cool seminar and I met these beautiful people, and they taught me about accountability and what it means to hold yourself accountable. So I came back from that and I sat down with my landlord and I said, look, I'm going to write out a contract and I want to have the money paid back to you by this date or else I lose my space and I'm out on the street. I literally wrote up a contract like that and signed it, and I had him sign it and put myself in a position to where it was like do or die. And about a week later, I was at my friend's house. His name is Nick, and he was like, bro, I'm renting a Tesla and I'm driving it out to the middle of the desert in Utah, and that's it. You want to go? And I'm like, well, fuck yeah, I want to go. But then the other part of me was like, Matt, that's what you've been doing for the past 2 years, is just partying and having fun every day of your life. And you said that you wanted to work more, and now you have this contract. So I declined. I said, no, I'm not going with you to Utah in a Tesla. And as hard as that was to do, it was very, very beneficial because I left his house that night to go get a frozen pizza. But on the way to get the frozen pizza, I remembered that my friend told me about this club in town that was looking for a neon face painter. And on my way to get the frozen pizza, I did a detour and I said, you know what? I'm going to go to that club and I'm going to get that job. So I went downtown, parked my van in front of the club, never been there before, walked in, was like, hello, my name is Matt Worldly, and I want to be a face painter here. And she's like, all right, let me get the owner. Owner comes down, introduces himself. His name is Joey. And he says, hey, how can I help you? I said, my name is Matt Worldly, and I want to face paint here. I said, here's my work. And he said, when can you start? And I said, as soon as possible. And he said, great. How about tomorrow? And the rest is history. And for the past 2.5 months now, I have been painting people and faces and bodies at this club called Neon Baby and making a significant amount of money. And paying off all of my debt that I owed my landlord, which is absolutely amazing because now I have completely opened up a part of myself that was kind of like hidden in the shadows for a long time. And I did that all through holding myself accountable. And recently, I was in my studio and I heard someone talking down the hall, and it was my landlord, and he was showing the space, this really big open space down the hall to this woman. And I went in there and I'm just like, hey, what's going on? And they're like, oh, well, she's thinking about renting this space. And I'm like, okay. And in that moment, like my whole life flashed before my eyes. And I was like, damn, like I've got the money to get the space now. So why don't I get the space? I've got an art market that I have in the parking lot. It has access to the alleyway. It's big enough to host events and art shows. And I literally pulled the trigger the next day. And I told my landlord, I said, hey, I'm going to rent that space. And I signed a new contract and made myself accountable again. But this time I sort of leveled up. So now my rent has literally tripled. And I've put myself in a position where I have to grow. I've put myself in a do or die situation. And it is literally the best feeling ever because I constantly have a fire lit under my ass that's like, Matt, don't slack. So I called my stepdad and I said, hey, remember when you tried to come here and it didn't work? I said, I think I know why. Because you weren't meant to come here then, you're supposed to come here now. So 2 days later, he flew out and we renovated this gallery, or at least a small portion of it, in 1 week. And it was amazing because I had an entire team of people helping me, and I've just never, well, I've definitely felt a lot of support from my community, but it was one of those moments where everything, everything that I've been working for in Denver kind of like led up to this moment. I had this entire tribe of people that believed in me and were so excited to help me transform this gallery. And now I have my own art gallery in the Santa Fe Art District where I can host my alien wizard science events, and I can host art shows, but ultimately I want to create a creative learning center with the space. So that's what I've been up to. There's been a lot of stuff happening, so you guys can expect a lot of really magical things in the very near future. But this video is to sort of break the ice and say, hey, I'm back, and I love you. Peace.